introduced ourselves before, but I'd really like to know a little bit more about Rue Saint Paul as a brand and sort of how
Yeah,
it came to be, how you sort of embraced sustainability into your business as well.
yeah. So Rue Saint Paul, we call ourselves Brooklyn's Sustainable Closet. It's really the only place in Brooklyn, I'm pretty sure in New York as well, where you can come in and support just exclusively sustainably minded designers. But on top of that, we think circularity is very important. So we offer most of our collection for rental as well. So you can borrow pieces if you don't need to buy, if you only need something for a short period of time, you can effectively borrow it, almost like it's from like a friend's closet. And we also buy and sell pre-owned as well. So if there's things sitting in your closet that you don't wear anymore, you can bring it in, trade it in. We pay cash or store credit for them, and then someone else can pick that up like it's new again. So that's kind of what we're all about, just a community, a local community supporting sustainable designers and also encouraging circular consumption.
So I guess my next question is, if there's one or two things that you've encountered that you really wish people knew about sustainability, maybe something that you didn't know before, something that you see as a common misunderstanding or lack of knowledge around one element of sustainability.
The fact that it doesn't exist really. That would probably be my biggest thing. I mean, like, I understand why we had to put a label on it to be able to talk about it, right, and the impacts. But in truth, at least in my opinion, there really is no sustainability, which means zero impact, right? There's only low impact. Everything, unfortunately, man-made that we do in our processes has an impact one way or another. As an example, even if you choose organic cotton, which is touted as the most one of the most sustainable fabrics. Cotton, yes, biodegrades in our lifetimes and biodegrades in a shorter period of time than a synthetic, but it uses an incredible amount of water. So can you say that it's sustainable? Well, it's more sustainable than polyester. But is it completely zero impact? No, and nothing is. So I think for us to say we're going to be sustainable and to achieve that kind of perfection, it's just not in the realm of reality. We're never going to get there. So I think it's about making choices that are lower impact.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and I think, to your point, it's not something that's common knowledge. It's not something that's top of mind. People kind of think it's black and white, but there's many shades of gray in between there. So
yeah, absolutely,
that's definitely a good point. I mean, being in the industry, and I'm sure, being aware of what's going on within the industry and outside of it, what kinds of things have you been seeing? What kinds of movements or new waves have you been seeing in the sustainability realm? I guess particularly I would say in the sustainability space in New York. I think New York has a lot to offer in that sense, but I'd be curious to know, what you've been noticing in recent years.
I think the thing that most excites me probably is just starting from the very beginning of the sustainability process, starting with design, right? Circular design. And what that means is usually when you design something, you design with, by the time it gets to us and we put the clothes on, that's it. You've done your job, right? Someone walked home with a beautiful sweater and that's it. We don't really think about what happens when that person is done with the sweater. We don't think about if it's going to go to a landfill, if it's how it's going to actually go back to the earth, what happens at the end of the true life cycle of the garment. So I think a lot of designers now have that in mind, but it's incredibly difficult. And a lot of that is going to be dependent on technology, right? Coming up with new fabrics, with new materials that are biodegradable or that can be recycled at the end of their lifetimes.
Yeah, I think, there's always going to be innovation, and as long as we kind of direct it towards a more sustainable, reusable, circular dynamic, then hopefully help us reverse a little bit of what we've been doing. I realized that you opened your business just before a pretty difficult time. So, um, how did you go about sort of starting a business or growing a business during COVID? Um, I'd also be curious to know, what role technology played in it. I'm sure, obviously face-to-face shopping was not allowed for a long time. So how did you go about running it?
Yeah, we opened our first brick and mortar store just 5 weeks before COVID. So you plan for a lot of things, obviously, when you kind of do something like that, but COVID-19 was not on our radar. So we ended up closing for about 3 months due to COVID, and then slowly reopened, person-in-person retail at the end of last summer. So for the 3 months that we were closed, we definitely had to do everything online. So we completely just kind of had to shift our processes. And while we sell online, the majority of our business is at the shop. That's what we love. We love engaging with customers in person, face to face, having those relationships. So I wouldn't say that we're very sufficient online, but I wouldn't say we're necessarily a kind of a traditional kind of e-com business. So we had to kind of think of new ways of reaching our customers and showing them our collection. And we did that through kind of the typical Instagram channels. We started to do some try-ons at the shop. So we did try-ons for our customers in some of our stories, since our customers couldn't come and see the pieces. We got a little creative in shipping out some, we called them care boxes. So people could pick a number of presents, pieces from the shop. We would package them up in cute little care boxes and send them to a friend or a loved one across the country during those months that we weren't, allowed to see anyone. So it was kind of, little things like that, finding ways to engage with our community over Zoom, private shopping appointments, using kind of more basic technology to kind of connect. And that got us through the 3 months. And a lot of those things have kind of stuck with us. So now we love to do try-ons still on Instagram for people. We kind of still do some shopping appointments every once in a while. So it's always interesting to see how sometimes the worst of something can manifest into something else.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, some great ideas came out of that as well. And
Thank you.
I think you managed to keep a personal connection even on a remote basis, which is never
Yeah,
easy.
it's incredibly hard.
Well, I think it's amazing, and I think you've been doing a great job. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. We're excited to see digital receipts. I think it's something that one of the things, we hate the most is having paper receipts in the bag and not knowing where, kind of where we are at the end of the month with all of our spend. So I think that's something that's really cool you guys are putting together.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to help you keep that a little more organized soon.
Can't wait.
All right. Thank you so much, Kelly.
All right. Thank you, Jessica.